Hey everyone, my name is Sean Arnold, and today we're going to be looking at a Zings deck sent to me by Taijutsu Paradox. Taijutsu Paradox is a duelist who I played against 2 days ago in my subscriber showdown, and seems to be a very competent and experienced duelist with the game. This is his Zing deck which he asked me to have a look at, and I believe this is a very competent build. There are 2 cards missing from the main deck here if anybody would like to try this deck. That is Zing Path and Zing Creation. Now, in case you don't know what Zings do, I'm going to give you a quick overview. Zings are a Wern type archetype which focus on synchro summoning to make really big plays. Zings all have the effect that when they are destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, they can special summon a different Zing card from the deck, which makes them what we call in Yu-Gi-Oh! A floater monster, a card which replaces itself with another resource so that you don't lose your card count. As well as that, they have 2 tuners, Xiao Tu and Chu-Im, and when they are used for synchro summons with other Zings, the synchro summon monster will get a buff when it's summoned out. For example, if you summon a monster using Bixie, it becomes immune to trap cards. Palau makes it immune to spell effects. Sawani gives it 500 extra attack, and BR makes it immune to destruction by battle. It's a really good synchro deck to play because it really protects your monsters very well. And with a nice array of synchros, particularly things like BLs, it can make your synchro monsters really extra hard to deal with and to get rid of off the field. This deck also has some nice combos with things like Supply Squad and Zing Creation, which give it a really good first turn in order so that anytime that you're destroyed, you get extra effects, you get extra summons and extra draws. And then it also has things like Skill Drain, because all of these cards activate in the graveyard, so Skill Drain doesn't really hurt your deck. It hurts your synchro monsters, but not necessarily your main deck. Now, this is a really solid build, and no criticisms towards Taijutsu's ability to build deck build. I think this is a really good build. However, I think this deck would not play very well against the current meta, and is more suitable to older style metas pre-2013, I believe. That is because Zing's older decks are decks which basically focus on destruction through card effects and through battle, which Zings really excel against well at. But most meta decks in this day and age aren't going to rely on those forms of destruction to get rid of your opponent's resources. Now, what I see for this deck is that it's a very good first turn play. You can set up a monster on the field, you might even be able to get a synchro summon out with your monsters, and then you put out cards like Supply Squad and Zing Creation so that if they do manage to get destroyed, you can keep your card count and have really good resources. However, I think this card deck has a very weak second turn, and that is because of the current meta of Yu-Gi-Oh! In Yu-Gi-Oh! You have to really try and build your deck to be very strong, whether it's going first or going second or even both. If you are going first, you want to try and commit as many resources to the board to stop your opponent from playing the game. Similarly, if you're going second, you need to have the resources to break your opponent's board while they've got so much around so that you can then play the game. This deck has really good resources for going first, but very poor ones for going second. And let me show you. The cards which they have for going second are Dark Hole to destroy opponent's monsters on the field, to clear out those threats, Twin Twister to clear off any back row, Max C to be able to send that to the graveyard during the opponent's first turn, so you get 3 draws every time they special summon a monster. And then you've got things like Buckshire and Black Rose if you manage to get synchro summon out, or even and the other thing, maybe Trishula as well if you can get rid of cards, and even Yahtzee kind of. So it does have a lot of resources. The best cards though for kind of clearing the opponent's board are really Buckshire and Max Z. The other cards are kind of good, kind of neither here nor there, and we're going to try and compare them to the other meta decks in the current format, so we can talk about the matchups a bit more. Let's look at this deck versus Burning Abyss. Well, Burning Abyss for me is not going to be afraid of Dark Hole at all because most of their monsters float too. It's not going to be afraid of Twin Twister because their trap cards, the Phantom Knight trap cards, have effects that activate in the graveyard, and maybe you'll hit a Solemn Strikeout, but that's so I'm going to probably be prepared for the Twin Twister, so I'm not going to overcommit to the board because I'll be expecting a Twin Twister to come and hit it. Buckshire will hurt this deck quite well because Buckshire shuffles cards on the field back into the main deck, whereas the other cards destroy Maybe Trishula banishes, but I think it might be kind of hard to get Trishula out, so I'm not going to really talk about Trishula. If you're able to, all the power to you, but still I think Baxia is the best synchro monster to go into because it shuffles. So Baxia really good, Maxi really good against this deck, others not so much. If we talk about going up, if we talk about Blue Eyes Veilground, again, Baxia will shuffle these cards very well. Dark Hole's not going to do too well against them if they have Return of the Dragon Lords in the graveyard to protect their monsters with. Twin Twister isn't going to really hurt this deck because it doesn't commit much to back row. Just the usual Solemn Strike Brigade. Baxia again is going to shuffle cards on the field. And also this deck and both Burning Abyss have very good cards or counters to Yang Zings. They banish cards through Divine Dragon Lord Veilground, which banishes monsters. They just banish back row with Art Brave Dragon and Dragon Spirit of White to get rid of threats for free as well. And Michael can also banish cards on the field as well. So not necessarily the best of the matchups, can still hold up, but not necessarily. Cosmos. If Cosmo has a board up on you, you're going to find it very hard to deal with. Again, Baxia is the best card here, but then again, Baxia doesn't work against ships because they can't be targeted by an opponent's card effects. As well as that, the Yangtze monsters are just going to get negated by Dark Lady if she's on the field, and Dark Hole's going to do no good against Cosmos because they are floaters as well. If you destroy a ship with Dark Hole, they're just going to float down into another ship, and if you try and destroy a pilot with Dark Hole, they're just going to banish themselves and bring a ship out from the hand if the deck is so prepared to do so. Twin Twister's not going to do very good here either because Cosmo Town, the Call of the Haunted, and Cosmojo are either chainable and or floaters in this deck, so they're not going to do anything. And in terms of dealing with your deck, I run Kaijus in Cosmos to deal with anything that I don't want to destroy with Dark Destroyer. Cosmojo will banish cards on the field, and so they have a lot of counters to Yangtzes as well. Going on to Monarchs, similarly, your Monarchs do not care about Twin Twister. The only things you're going to really hit is Domain of the True Monarchs and the Prime Monarch, which floats in the graveyard. As well as that, Dark Hole will hurt Monarchs a little bit, but then again not too real much because they don't really often play a lot of monsters to the board. They normally have just one big monster and they're waiting for you to put a monster out so that they can tribute over it. And that's not going to trigger your Yangtze effects thanks to Monarch Stormforth. That's going to just say send your monster to the graveyard and then they bring out their cards for free. Even if they don't have the Monarch Stormforth, they still have things like Erebus to shuffle cards in the field back into the deck. And they can even switch off monster deck effects using Majesty's Fiend. So a lot of counters there from Domain Monarchs. If we look at one more, is that all of them? I did miss one, and that is Pendulums. Magiceptor Draco Pals. If Magiceptor Draco Pals go first, you really have to work hard to break their board. They're very, very hard to deal with. In terms of breaking their board, you're not going to be able to target them easily if they have Sky Iris on the field. Sky Iris is going to protect their Pendulum Zones from being targeted. Secret Village of the Spellcasters can shut down spell cards. Dynaster makes it so that your opponent cannot destroy pendulum monsters or pendulum monsters in your monster zones by battle or card effects. So Dark Hole, Twin Twister again is no good. Baxia can do fine against this, but it can't target cards in the pendulum zones with Sky Iris out. And then in terms of dealing with Yang Zings, they have a lot of counters too, such as they have Ignister, which can shuffle cards in the field, and Kirin, which can just continuously bounce cards from the field to the back to the hand and be very, very annoying to deal with. So those are, in my opinion, the best decks in the game, and as I've tried to kind of illustrate, Yang Zings don't really have a lot to deal with these threats. The best bet to deal with them are Baxia, Xiaotu to get into Baxia, and then maybe any other synchro monsters that you decide to put in. So, how do you improve a deck like this? Well, I think the better version of Yang Zing Pure is to play Zephyr Yang Zings. Zephyr Yang Zings is a bit of a faster version of the deck, and it focuses on bringing out Xiaotu ASAP. It focuses on getting that as soon as possible. Xiaotu in the previous build is not really searchable unless you manage to draw it early on. This deck decides to run a copy of Sky Iris because you can choose one card on your field, destroy it, and if you have any other Yangtze monster to destroy on the field, you can then search out Xiaotu. Now, Xiaotu works well with Baxia because it can bring out Xiaotu's effect is that you can discard 2 Yangtze cards, and you can bring out 2 Yangtze cards from monsters from your deck to the field. The ideal targets for that are Chewim, which is level 1 tuner, and Sephranu, which is a level 6 effect monster. And then you have the Baxia loot, which works as follows. You use level 2 tuner Xiao Tu, and level 6 monster Sephranu to go into your level 8 Baxia. Baxia comes to the field, you choose 2 cards in the field on your opponent's side of the field, shuffle them back into their deck, and then Baxia can then do a loop to bring out another copy of itself if you so need to. What Baxia can do is you can target one card that you control, which will be your Chewin, send it to, destroy it and send it to the graveyard, and special summon back another level 4 lower Yangtze monster. So you destroy Chewin, bring back Xiao Tu, and then by doing that you're going to activate Chewin's effect. Chewin's going to activate again, you bring out another Sephranu for a level 6 target, and you have another level 2 and level 6 monster on the field to go into another level 8 Synchro. You can then go into another Baxia, shuffle more cards on the field if you want to, or go for something like, I don't know, yes, Ignista if you're playing against... No, not Ignista. Yeah, Ignista if you're playing against Pendulums, because you're using a Pendulum monster. So that'll break... be really good against Pendulum decks. You could use Eldai's Meteor Burst Dragon, which is good against Cosmos, because it stops effects being activated in the battle phase. You can go for Cyframe Lord Omega to shuffle cards from the opponent's hand, or return banished cards or play manipulation that way. Scarlight to do a Dark Hole style effect, destroying all other effect monsters in the field, which also will pop your monsters. And Void Ogre Dragon if you happen to run out of resources, so that you can negate spell and trap cards. I believe by focusing more on having a better opening play to get into Xiao Tu as soon as possible is the best way for the Yangtzes to play. And there's so many ways you can do that. Well, not so many ways, but it's a lot more likely to do so by using Sky Iris as well. As well with this deck, you have cards which search out your Zephyr monsters, so you get more cards to your hand to discard for Xiao Tu. You play Oracle Zephyr, you get a free Zephyr monster and add it to your hand. Instead of Twin Twister with this deck, because back row isn't so strong right now, we are running Archery the Centric. Archery the Centric can be used in the Pendulum Zone to destroy spells and traps, or in the Monster Zone to destroy monsters on the field. However, what's also good about it is it can be used as a Pendulum Scale as well. It's a level 7, it's a scale 7 monster, as well with Sephiroxy, which is a scale 1 monster, and with these two you can summon anything from level 2 to level 6 from your hand or your extra deck to the field, which includes Sephranu or Xiao Tu or anything else which you can really have in your hand, really, which is also really useful. Sephranu also, when Pendulum summoned or destroyed by a battle or card effect, gives you more searching. It adds a Yangtze card from your deck to your hand, so you can search out Yangtze Path, Yangtze Creation, or even Zephyr Divine Strike or Oracle Zephyr, so you can search out your spell and trap cards. As well as that, to improve your first turn, if your opponent is going first, we are maxed out on copies of Max C, so if they special summon like crazy, you get more resources to your hand. And we also have 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which can destroy cards from your by activating it in your hand during your opponent's turn. Overall, I think this deck is a lot more better built for today's meta. It's not exactly a meta deck, it's not going to always win against meta decks, but I think it's a lot more better because it has a lot more direction towards its goal. The biggest weakness for this deck is because you are focusing on getting Xiao Tu. If this gets hit by Solemn Strike, you're kind of done, I'm afraid. But otherwise, I think this is a really, really improved build of the deck. If anyone else wants me to have a look at their decks or try to work on them, let me know at the Arnold's Play on PSN, and I'll try and make a video of that when possible. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.